Hello everyone, I just saw the My Adventures with Superman episode 7. Now with Clark and Lois being able to start over and with him being fully transparent about who he is and where he came from as much as he knows about it at this point, Lois and Clark are finally able to go on a date. But with both of them overthinking the entire thing and creating flow charts for having a date and giving each other gifts and stuff like that, Mr. Mxyzptlk shows up. Mxyzptlk is basically this weird imp from another dimension, the fifth dimension, and he's only able to go back to that dimension if you force him to say his name backwards. So, while that doesn't happen in this episode, he does create his usual cartoonish antics while sending our heroes through the multiverse, where they meet a legion of Lois Lanes, a bunch of Lois Lanes, and even a few Jimmy Olsens, or gender-bent Jimmy Olsens, who end up defending the multiverse from Mxyzptlk and people like him. So Lois gets to find out that in the multiverse, several Lois Lanes have won Pulitzer prizes. Some of them have earned keys to the city, and she also gets to find out that not every Superman is good. Clark Kent is just one of the good Supermans when there are some that are more destructive than actually helpful. I appreciate the amount of Easter eggs that are in this episode. We see Dr. Fate's helmet, Raven's cape, Wonder Woman's lasso. I even saw a Dragon Slayer sword at one point, which reminded me of Berserk. On top of that, this is the first Mr. Mxyzptlk in animation that actually reminded me of like a cartoon imp, which is essentially what he is. He is a fun little guy who loves creating chaos and whose vocal performance really fits how I'd imagine he'd sound like. Basically, he's a good villain for this time because he's both fun to watch and also genuinely threatening. Plus, I appreciate the fact that they took the multiverse route not while being able to keep it fresh, despite the fact that the multiverse has been used so often in superhero medium, especially in Marvel and DC, but they were able to have a fun spin on it, showing that Lois Lane only saw the good Loises, or at least the successful ones, when there clearly are plenty of failures in her time period, so she's not the worst Lois by a long shot, despite what she thinks. But her own insecurity about herself does add some much needed depth to her character. On top of that, I appreciate the fact that out of all the Jimmy Olsens in the world, only Jimmy and his gender bent clone are the ones who are the Flamebirds, the ones who have social media accounts in that respect, and they're able to bond over that. On top of that, we get to see that since there's several evil Supermen, perhaps they're going to show up at some point, considering they opened that. And since these Lois Lanes are from an alternate universes, they all have guns that can shoot kryptonite. Usually it's Metallo who has kryptonite projectiles, but I'm guessing they're probably not going to use Metallo either for now. Though it would be very cool if they got around to it. So with that being said, we didn't get anything new on Dr. Ivo or General Lane, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be more important in the future episodes. And this one is definitely one of the more fun ones, with tons of chaotic moments, and with Clark, Lois, and Jimmy working together to take out the main threat of the episode. I appreciate that Lois and Jimmy are kept as characters who get to do things rather than ones who just sit around and wait for Superman to solve all the problems, and I'm glad that's continuing even several weeks in. So, see you next time. I am looking forward to how they end up wrapping up this season.